everybody, and thank you for coming back to Thek-talks podcast, the Thekla Wright show here on YouTube. And if you're listening to the podcast platform, thank you for listening to Thek-talks. And we are starting to do a little something different, and I'm actually challenged myself to pick up my content instead of somebody else's content and going through their highlighted moments, which I absolutely love, don't get me wrong. But my husband and I had a conversation one time. He's like, why don't you try to do your own content? Why don't you challenge yourself and pick up your own book and share? So that's what I'm doing. So I wanted to read, this is my first book, Contrast, Stop Yelling in the Dark and Turn on the Light. I wanted to read the behind part, the back of the book, because I kind of feel like, after it has been edited and looked through and combed through and kind of got the kinks out in a way, that it's better said when I have it in front of me. So I'm just going to read to you what I wrote here in the back here, so you can kind of understand a little bit behind this book. Okay, let me just read behind here. This is a book about how pain and troubled times can warp how we see God and how to find his true nature in the midst of it all. Read stories from a childhood of bullying from teachers and peers, the later pain of divorce, and learning how to have strength as an army spouse with a husband deployed overseas, as well as the struggles that come with infertility and infant loss. Watch heartache and brokenness be transformed into complete restoration, observing how one doesn't come without the other, and find how God uses the contrast of the ups and downs in life to eliminate his qualities against our own. To have a better understanding of who God is, you need to first know what he is not. Use the provided illustrations to search for contrast in your own life and how to apply them in your walk with God. And that is the gist of this book. I want to turn to page 32 and I'm going to read to you, or maybe talk about, I don't know if I'm going to read the whole thing, that would be crazy. This is called A Lesson from a Rose. And I think I'll just not read it to you. I think I'll just kind of share a little highlighted moment. And it's on page 32, and I'm talking about a lesson from a rose. When I was younger, I used to live in Beaverton, Oregon, and both my parents were working, of course, and this old lady babysat us, and she was a little bit on the grumpy side. And anyway, I remember she was a very good gardener, and she had such lovely flowers and gardens and stuff like that, and I spent a lot of my time outside. And I just remember this one time I was looking at some roses, and I really admired the roses. I loved how pink and pretty they were, and there were all different kinds of stages of roses. There were some full bloom, some were just a little bit, in the bud stage, and some were just showing the color out of the bud, very tiny baby buds. Anyway, I loved the flowers. I remember looking at the roses, and I admired this one kind of gently opening, and it was a beautiful pink rosebud, and I saw how they were all in different stages of growth. And I remember I thought to myself, I'm going to help this little rose grow. I'm going to help it grow. So I started prying with my fingers, trying to help the rose petals come out and all this stuff. And I was trying to help it bloom, And anyway, here's my lesson that I had to learn. Before I did, I heard God's voice. Though I didn't know it at the time, he said, "If you do, you'll mess it up." I thought I would try anyway, and then I heard the voice again. "Let this be a lesson to you, and one day you'll understand why you shouldn't try this." And now I look back at that moment and I understand why. You can't hurry growth. You can't hurry growth, because if you do, like the rosebud, if you try to pry it open when it's not ready, when you're trying to speed it up, it will break and crumble, and you would eventually see it die. So what I'm trying to say is, you can't hurry growth, you can't speed it up, you can't make it happen, and you can't force it. Only God can determine the speed of growth. If you try to take control of it, it will be destroyed. My fingers got in the way. I was prying it open as careful as I could be, and the poor thing broke into pieces. That is like us when we try to do things our way. When we take control, no matter how careful we think we are, things tend to crumble. Contrast here is our time versus God's timing, and God's time is perfect. So I just wanted to leave you with that thought, that if you are waiting on something, I just want to let you know it's okay to wait and use that as an opportunity to grow. You can do so many things while you're waiting on your dream or prayer to come to pass. You can get better with being appreciative. You can get better at researching things, prayer time management, doing all those things you can work on. And eventually that process of all that research or praying or just bettering yourself in general will produce and grow and blossom into something good. But be patient with yourself, because if the Lord is patient with us and with you, then we should too. I just want to give you some encouragement, and I hope that you find encouragement in this little nugget. And stay tuned for next time here at Thek-talks podcast. I'm trying to keep this short and sweet for you guys. And remember to hit like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. And don't forget to hit the notification bell, because then that way you'll get updates on the next episode when we try to push out on Mondays. All right, that's all I have for you, my friends. Remember, learn to be embraced by grace. See you next time. Bye-bye.